Well, hello, all my amazingly beautiful zodiac family and friends. My name is Libra Empress, and we are going to be doing another episode of Terror and Tarot. Now, I am a week late, well, a weekend late, actually. I slept all weekend, I'm not going to lie. I wasn't feeling so good, but then, whoever is, especially around Valentine's Day, that's not why I wasn't feeling good. Anyway, so I wanted to do this video before Valentine's Day, but I'm late, so, better late than never, right? So this is where we do a couple of spreads in between episodes, and I really like IMR Scary Tales. They have such great stories, right? And great art. I don't know, I love them. And so we're gonna be reacting to their 3 Valentine's Day horror stories animated. But first, let's do a quick spread actually. That's why you're here, right? Let's do the spread. You don't care about the videos. Videos are just something that, we could watch together. Because that's what we do. Actually, that's what I love doing, is being able to hang out with all of you and, do spreads. So this is going to be a general reading. I don't have an exact, like, this is just for anyone, right? Because I already did the zodiac signs, and so I'm going to do spreads between each episode and probably one afterwards. Whichever one relates to you. Let me know. I'm still doing free personal tarot readings. Okay. Alright. Past, present, possible future, right? Bottom of the spread on that one. Pow, wow, what out, down, down. I'm not going to do a fourth pile like I normally do, mainly because I don't want to. But then I'm using all my decks here, so it should be fine. Okay. Sorry about the gross noises in the background. Well, it's Valentine's Day, so I might as well. Whatever. My husband can't breathe out of his nose. Allergies. Alright, so before you, I've got 3 piles, okay? Past, present, and possible future. Now remember, when we get to the future is not set in stone. It can change anytime you so choose it, right? Yeah. Let's get started, shall we? Now, past energy tells me that you were rejecting, this is for any sign, someone out there was rejecting wanting to find balance and compromise with someone. And it had a lot to do with the fact that, this is Horseman of Pentacles. Consistent productivity. Whoever you were dealing with in the past was your wish fulfillment, right? They were your star. But at the same time, you're dealing with a 5 of Cups in reverse, which tells me that in the past you started to become or begin an emotional journey of recovery, if that makes sense. So if it was upright, it would be like heartache, the loss of a situation and or relationship. But this is an emotional journey. Recovering. Currently, I see that, yeah, you got a lot of energy here. This is really an uncomfortable spot, sorry. I also see here that you're dealing with the Queen of Hazards, which there's a lot of imbalance in regards to work. Definitely a lot of balance in regards to work. But you are trying to find balance. Currently, you're dealing with a Sagittarius, whoever you are. Or maybe you are a Sagittarius. Could also be a Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo energy. But then you got these Six of Pentacles in reverse. And the Six of Pentacles in reverse is the fact that you're having a hard time moving on, right? And you're not finding truth. Now, the Hierophant is usually like truth, truth, truth. But you're blinded by the truth currently. In your possible future, I see that you're not dealing with betrayal, but you are dealing with a puppet master, someone who's pulling your strings. You are dealing with an emotional bully, someone who's very cynical about humanity. The Five of Swords, you are accepting defeat and moving on. But you're calling judgment, or someone else is calling judgment for you. Bottom of the spread tells me that there is, you're starting fresh, new beginning. Then there's your reward and prosperity. You're going to get an extra pep in your step to move forward. And but with the Five of Pentacles in reverse, it's you're basically getting help. Okay. The good kind of help. Sorry about the background noise. All right, let's get started with our first video, our first story, which is story number 1. I don't even know what the name is of it. Let's pull it up here. And then while we're watching, I will totally shuffle. And maybe turn the volume up so you can hear my husband snort. I'm over here laughing and breaking shit with my knee. Okay, here we go. Ready? I might pause it.
My name is Sophie, and this happened last year on Valentine's Day. I met Sam 6 months before Valentine's Day. Even though it all started out as casual dating, we soon became really close. I felt like he is the one for me. We used to go out a lot and made many good memories. Everything was going well. One day Sam told me he recently spoke to his mother. She would like to invite us to a Valentine's Day dinner at their house. I looked at him with a nervous face and said, are you sure about bringing me to meet your family? Sam gave a big smile and said, come on, Sophie, you are a delight. They will be overwhelmed to meet my girl. Even though I felt things were happening soon, I didn't say that to Sam. Honestly, I was excited to meet his family too. His family stayed in a farmhouse located in the countryside. I stayed with Sam on the night before Valentine's Day. At midnight, when the clock struck 12, Sam surprised me with a bunch of roses and a beautiful heart-shaped red velvet cake.
Aww.
Sam loved pampering me. We exchanged our Valentine's gifts, and love was indeed in the air. Next morning, we woke up and packed our belongings. It was going to be a 5-hour drive, so we decided to start early. Sam started the car, and we were on our way. As soon as we left the city, we stepped into a refreshing nature. Long trees standing on the roadsides and a bright sky greeted us with cool breeze, cheered me up in no time. We were laughing and talking on the way. I asked Sam, so how many people are there in your family? Sam smiled and said, you are still nervous about this, huh? I awkwardly smiled because I was at the time. Sam then said, well, it's not too much. My parents, my grandma, and my little sister Tina. I replied in a surprised voice. Sam, you have a sister? Why didn't you tell me earlier? How old is she? Sam smiled and said, yes, I have a sister.
Sell products on Facebook and Instagram when you start your online store. With
Sister. I knew someday you were going to meet her anyway, and she's 12 years old. I laughed at his humor. I noticed that I actually knew nothing about Sam's past or family until now. We always talked about us, but hardly talked about him or his previous life. All I know is Sam teaches in a city school, and we meet in a pub. I shrugged off this uncertain feeling because I am anyway going to meet his family now. We were about to reach when Sam's mom called. I obviously couldn't hear her from the other side of the phone, but with Sam's reply, I guessed that she was also excited to meet us. After 4.5 hours of driving, Sam pointed out to a dusty road on our left and said, "See that road? The farmhouse is at the end of it." We got on the road and I was surprised to see how an entire family is managing their life in such a secluded area. As far as my eyes went, I could see only trees and vast fields. At the end of the road stood a wooden farmhouse acquiring a large area. We finally reached near the house, and Sam honked his horn. A small girl dressed in flower-printed frock came running towards Sam. Behind her, a woman came too, with a smile on her face. I realized it was Sam's mother, and the little girl is his sister. She hugged Sam and said, "Welcome home, son, and she must be the beautiful Sophie," and came to hug me too. I felt her affection with her warm hug, and my face turned all red with this unexpected attention. She said in a gentle voice, "Come on, let's go inside. Everyone is waiting for you two." It was a warm, beautiful house. The house had a lake in the backside. I have never been to a place so close to nature. Hence, everything felt amazing to me. Sam's mom took us to the dining room. An old woman was sitting in a big armchair, and a tall man was pouring himself a glass of wine. Sam's mom introduced me to all of them. Sam rushed to the old woman and said, "Oh, Grandma, I missed you so much." His grandma smiled and then looked at me. There was something in her stare that made me feel really uncomfortable. She was not just staring at me, rather checking me out. Her big wide eyes crept me a bit. Suddenly, the tall man came to me and said, "Hi, I'm William, Sam's father. Welcome, Sophie." I smiled and said, "The pleasure is all mine, sir. Thank you for having me here." Sam's grandma laughed with a creepy voice and said, "Well, none's gonna have you. We've already cooked food, dear." Everyone laughed at her joke, and I had to join them despite the joke being really not funny. Sam's mom said, "We have prepared your bed in Tina's room. I hope you won't mind sharing a room with her." I nodded my head and said, "Oh no, it's absolutely fine." Sam's mom then turned to the little girl and said, "Tina, take Sophie to your room and be nice to her, okay?" Tina chuckled and said, "I'm always nice, Mama." Tina held my hand and we walked upstairs. As soon as I entered her room, I got shocked. Her room was nothing like a little girl's room. There were stuffed animals all over. Rabbits, eagles, deer heads were hanging from here and there. I asked her, "Whoa, what are these, Tina?" She replied in a jolly voice, "These are mementos." I said in a worried voice, "What do you mean by mementos?" She chuckled and said, "Daddy and I like to go hunting every Sunday. These are all the animals we killed, and I stuffed them with Daddy's help. Don't you like my collection?" I was out of words. Suddenly, I hear Sam's voice from behind. "Looks like you guys are already bonding, huh?" He stood on the doorstep and smiled. I was surprised to see how casual he was to see his little sister decorating her room with dead animals instead of toys. Tina chuckled and said, "I will go check out the frosting of my strawberry cake. Mommy and I made that for you, Sophie. Brother told us you like strawberry." She ran out of the room. Sam came to me and said, "Hey, is everything fine? I know we couldn't stay together. My family is, a bit conservative on that front." I replied, "No, that's fine, but don't you think your sister's room decoration is a bit weird?" Sam laughed and said, "Oh, Sophie, I forgot to tell you. Our family has a kick for hunting, you know? We have grown up amidst lots of dead animals."
Sad.
Anybody else alarmed that this little girl has a crap ton of animals on her wall? Or is that just me and this girl on this video? Now, it is great, you know, I mean, if you think about it, at least the little girl's dad is teaching her how to hunt. You know, like, she ends up in the middle of the woods, one time lost, at least she knows how to fend for herself. But at the same time, like, I don't know. Let me know what you think. Yeah. Let me know what you think. Let's continue on. Sorry about the ads. Can't do nothing about it.
It's nothing. You'll get used to it too. Now go freshen up. Dinner will be served soon. Around 8:30, I got downstairs with Tina for dinner. The dinner table was filled with various kinds of meat dishes. As we all sat down and started to eat, my mind started to forget all the tensions earlier. They were a happy family after all. The steak was delicious. The chicken soup made with their farm fresh vegetables took all my tiredness away. Tina said in a cheerful voice, "Cut the cake, Mommy. Give Sophie the big piece." Sam's sister was really adorable. In one word, I was having a really good time. Sam came to kiss me goodnight. We were just talking when I heard Sam's father's voice from downstairs. "Come on, Sam, hurry up. It's time now." I asked, "Time for what, Sam?" Sam replied, "My father and I are going to hunt some wild boar tonight. There's a forest about 20 minutes from our house. Anyways, gotta go, love. See you in the morning." I saw Sam and his father driving away in their van from Tina's window. I was surprised to know Sam could be the guy who likes to hunt wild boars at night. I mean, he appeared very simple to me. I lied down on my bed. Tina was asleep already. Don't exactly remember what time it was, but I heard a woman scream and woke up in fear. It took some time to adjust my eyes with the darkness of the room, and I saw Tina was not in her bed. I was almost ready to get up and look for her just when I turned to my left and got freaked out like hell. Tina was standing just beside my bed. I said in a terrified voice, "What was that? And what are you doing here?" Tina replied in a perfectly calm voice, "Don't be so scared, Sophie. It was just the pig's cry." I replied in a shaken voice, "Pig? What pig? I don't
Are they cannibals? Is this like a Texas chainsaw thing?
think it was a pig." Tina sat down beside me and said, "Yeah, the animals scream when Daddy skins them. It's absolutely fine." Words like that coming from a 12-year-old
weird.
not only felt bizarre, but pointed out the fact that their entire family is hiding a secret. I decided to check things out on my own, so I acted normal and went back to bed. I waited for Tina to fall asleep again. As soon as I heard her quiet breathing, I tiptoed to the corridor. I saw the light in their woodshed from the window downstairs. Everyone was asleep. I slowly opened the door and started to walk toward the woodshed. The soft grass on the ground helped me to suppress the sound of my footsteps. The door of the woodshed was locked, but I could hear sounds of chopping and Sam's father laughing in excitement. I crouched on the ground and put my eye on the door lock. What I saw ran shivers down my spine. A woman was laying on a huge wooden table. She looked like a hiker, and she was dead. Her eyes were open like a dead fish, blood dripping from her face and hand. I couldn't see anymore because someone stood in front of the lock and my view got guarded. But I heard Sam's father say, 2 to 3 groups are residing in the forest who came for camping. Tomorrow we will hunt a male. Your mother wanted to make the steak again." Sam laughed and said, "Yeah, Dad, who could tell today's steak was cut out from a man's thigh? I mean, it tasted delicious." I couldn't believe my ears and eyes. These people are cannibals. Oh my God, what do I do now? I quickly got up and while turning towards the house, I kind of leaned into the door and made a sound. Sam said, "Dad, there's someone outside the door." But by the time they opened the door, I was already inside. I peeped from the dining window and saw Sam looking around for some time, and again went inside. I heaved a sigh of relief. I realized this is my only chance. I rushed to his room and took the car keys. I was about to go to the main door when I saw Sam's grandma standing near the door blocking my way. She gave me a vicious smile and said, "You can't leave. You are supposed to be one of us now. My grandson wants to marry you so you can stay with us forever." I said in a disgusted voice, "You guys are sick. Feasting on human flesh? You are all fucking cannibals. Leave me alone and let me go." But she obviously didn't listen to me. She started to scream and I knew she was going to wake everyone up. I rushed toward her and knocked her down with one punch. She fell on the floor and I ran for my life. I jumped into the car and saw the house lights were on. I didn't look back for a second, just started the car and drove as fast as I could. I reported to the cops about this family, but they only found a burnt-down house on the same address I gave them. I don't know where they all went, but I'm sure they have escaped suspecting I would go to the cops. I just hope I never meet any of them again. Not even that cannibal little girl.
This is the checkers game where grandson and granddad will bond. This is the
Yeah. I would have lied and been like, oh, I forgot something in the car. She sucker punched her. Oh, I'm not for beating on. Oh, I am. No, I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. Let's do our spread. Let's see. This is the first video in, so. Sorry about the noise. My husband's still in the game system. It's a late at night, early morning, and he's on the game system. Okay. Let's do a you versus them spread. Yeah, this is gonna be general, so I can go for anybody.
Are you kidding me? You can shoot me through that, but I couldn't shoot you through it? Oh my god. How are they there before us every time? You're showing up behind us, you fucking fags.
Sorry about that language. But you know how guys are. Especially when they have their game system. They all talk trash over the thing. So if that offended anybody, I apologize. Sincerely.
What? Come on, why is not at least one person going to the objective before they do?
Alright, let's
Really,
get started
trophy
on
system
this.
destroyed my trophy system. Are you fucking kidding me?
Alright, so what they think about you, because this is general, right? They think that you are no longer in your head, no longer pampering yourself and ignoring the world, right? They also think that you are grieving the loss of a situation and or a loved one.
Dude, why am I getting into these lobbies?
They also think that there's a lot of toxicity in regards to your energy or whatever you're dealing with.
Oh my god, dude.
How they feel towards you.
Fucking shit. Bull fucking shit.
I'm recording. Can't hear me. Headphone. What they feel about you is they feel like you're sharing. They feel like sharing their love. Right?
Good.
Page of Cups tells me that there's a lot of emotional drama that they feel is there.
I don't know how losing a person is a good game.
Two of Swords that tells me that there was a difficult choice between what they had to do in regards to their feelings and you. Their action towards you is opposite of material wealth. Right? There's no longer bickering. But this is Five of Swords, and Five of Swords reverse is basically accepting defeat and moving on, right? Ten of Cups in reverse, that tells me that their actions towards you is there's a lot of dysfunction in regards to the family, right? A lot of problems. You're thinking that there's a lot of charm going on in regards to them. They're very charming. You also think that they're transforming, starting new beginning, Death card. You also think that with the Six of Cups in reverse that your person is clinging to the past. How you feel about them is you feel you're taking that in moderation, right? Five of Wands in reverse. There's a lot of inner conflict, right? With the Three of Pentacles here, what that's telling me is a lot of teamwork and collaborations. You're feeling like everything's kind of going okay. Your action toward them, though, tells me that you're no longer being cautious. You've pulled out of hermit mode. So hermit in reverse, what that tells me is that you're lacking spirituality, right? And a need for spiritual insight and growth. I keep looking up there because I'm thinking. Ace of Cups. This tells me that you want a new love, a new beginning. You're giving your cup of love to them, whoever they are. What's actually going on between you two is this, the Empress. There's not a whole lot of enthusiasm, but you got the Ten of Wands in reverse, which ones tells me that you're dealing with a lot of burdens and a very unclear path. Very, very unclear path. Queen of Swords tells me that you're putting your foot down and building your empire from the ground up. Right? Sharp tongue, intelligent. You could be dealing with a Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. If you were to stay with this person or get back with this person, the possible future tells me that you guys would be keeping your emotions under control. Be a Seven of Swords in reverse. So Seven of Swords is that you'd be caught red-handed and you'd be facing your own self-deception. Really, self-deception now. It also tells me that you'd be having to find clarity and you think about what you're going to say and how you're going to say it to whoever you're going to say it to, right? Because you're going to get sharp tongue. You might end up cutting bridges while seeking clarity. The bottom of the spreads tell me this, that you're no longer disappointed, okay? There's a lot of toxicity, a lot of toxic energy in regards to this devil energy. You are being watched, though, your every move. You're fighting your own addictions. Then you got your Nine of Cups in reverse. And the Nine of Cups in reverse is you're unsatisfied with your social relationships. Could be both of you. I don't know. Alright, let's move on to the second video. Yeah, I will pause it because I do that a lot. Let's pull it up. Sorry about the ads.
I'm a 28-year-old single mom. My son Ricky is still studying in preschool. We live in a suburb of Southern California. My husband was an alcoholic. It goes without saying that our marriage was failing. He often abused me, but for the sake of my son, I kept tolerating him. One night he came home really drunk and started breaking furniture out of a rage over a petty fight. Ricky woke up and heard the sounds and came out of his room. He was standing in the middle of the dining room and watching his abusive drunk father creating a huge scene. I was expecting it to be like all the usual nights, just when something horrible happened. My husband Marcus threw a vase toward the wall, but
Mind you, if you're in that kind of situation, get help. Okay? Just get help. Because you think that you're doing good by staying with someone like that, but your kid's watching how your spouse or your partner treats you, and they're learning. And you know that in the future, if they continue to see that, they could, and it's a huge, it's a huge possibility they could end up doing the same thing to their partner, thinking it's okay, because kids see what's going on and they think that's acceptable, and you shouldn't tolerate that, and that's abuse to you and your child. So if you're dealing with that shit, get out, get help, okay? Let's move on.
Dead hit my poor Ricky in the head. He started bleeding and fell to the floor, being unconscious. I immediately rushed him to the hospital and eventually split up for my husband. I mean, that was all I could take. After reporting to 911, the cops arrested him and he was put in jail. I visited him 2 or 3 times in jail where he pleaded to me to bring Ricky to see him, but I obviously never did. He apologized many times and said it was the alcohol that turned him into a different person, but I was out of second chances for him. Maybe my life wasn't problematic.
It's the alcohol that does it to him. You know what? When they start using that excuse, well, it was the drugs that did it to me. It was the alcohol. I couldn't help it. No, they chose to indulge, which means they chose what came next. Let's be honest. Let's continue on, my beautiful friends.
Enough, because last month in January I received horrible news that my husband killed himself inside the prison cell. He somehow managed to sneak a fork with him after dinner, then stabbed himself in the neck. Even though I was fed up with him, I still couldn't help but feel sorry for him. I accepted my fate and decided to move on with my life until this unbelievable incident happened. Last week, I finally told my son about his father's death. Ricky broke into tears even though his father never treated us right. I couldn't help but cry with him too. We were getting back on our feet until one evening my neighbor Miss Stewart came over to our house. Ricky was watching TV in the living room when the doorbell rang. As I opened the door, Miss Stewart greeted me with her homemade pie and said, "Hi, Elena. I hope you are doing well. I am really sorry to hear about your husband. How's your son?" I accepted her gift and replied, "Thank you, Miss Stewart. We are trying our best to get on with our lives." She smiled and said, "I know, Elena, you have been through a lot, which is why out of courtesy I came to invite you at our small party that's going to take place in the town hall on Valentine's Day night. I'm not going to pressure you, but if you decide to come, we will all be very happy to have you there." I smiled and said, "I will try if I can." That night when I was tucking Ricky into his bed, he asked, "Mom, now that Dad is dead, are you going to celebrate Valentine's Day without him?" I was shocked to hear such words come from a 5-year-old. I said, "Why would you say something like that, Ricky?" Ricky looked at me blankly for a few seconds, then answered, "Dad told me to ask you. He would be sad if you do so." The hair on the back of my neck stood up. I said in a shaken voice, "What, Ricky? You know Dad is no longer with us. Please stop saying things like that." Ricky didn't say anything, just turned to the right side and closed his eyes. I couldn't sleep that entire night. There was no way Ricky would have come up with such a question on his own. Next morning, I called my mom and told her everything. She calmed me down and said kids make up things like that when they lose someone at a very young age. Probably Ricky misses his dad, so he is worried that if I start dating again, I will find someone to replace.
One of the main differences from temporary dentures that patients get after implant surgery for 6 to 10 months.
His
Sorry about
dad.
the ads.
I went to work after dropping Ricky at school. Around the afternoon, I was going through some important files when my phone rang. I saw it was Ricky's teacher. She called me and said to come to the school immediately. Without thinking much, I rushed to the preschool. As I stormed into the school hallway, I saw Ricky sitting on a bench beside his teacher. He looked all pale and freaked out. I could tell just by the look on his face that something scared him terribly. He ran to me crying and I wrapped him into my arms. His teacher told me Ricky went to the bathroom during class, but when he didn't come back after a while, she went to look for him and saw him sitting on the bathroom floor, hiding his face under his palms and crying. He is not speaking a single word about what happened in the bathroom. I brought Ricky home and cooked him dinner. I decided to make him sleep with me that night. As I lay beside him, I kissed his forehead and asked, "What happened at school today, Ricky? Did anyone bully you?" He looked at me with his trembling eyes and said, "I don't want to see Daddy ever again, Mom." I don't know if you'll believe me or not, but my stomach dropped right at that moment. I said in a low, scared voice, "What do you mean by that, Ricky?" Ricky replied in a sobbing voice, "I was coming out of the bathroom just when I saw Daddy standing near the door. His face was all scary and his head was stuck. He wasn't blinking, just staring at me." I took a pause and said, "Why do you say his head was stuck?" Ricky replied, "His head was tilted and he couldn't move it. Just kept standing there watching me." Then he completely broke into tears. I remained awake that night. The horrifying things my son just said took my sleep away. The next day was Valentine's Day. I was already worried about the entire life situation, but somehow to cheer Ricky up, I decided to take him to the mall. The city mall was decorated in big red hearts, and Cupid statues were all over the mall floors. Couples were walking around hand in hand. Amidst all that celebration, Ricky and I somehow forgot all the tensions. We played games in the gaming zone, had ice cream. I got myself new clothes and bought Ricky a bicycle. I decided to spend that night with my parents because deep down somewhere I was feeling lonely. After all, it was Valentine's Day. Around 8, we got into the car to drive to my parents'
Sorry,
house.
I'm messing up your
I was
view.
relieved to think that for one night I will be able to sleep peacefully. My parents live in the outskirt area, so we got onto the long empty highway after passing through the city. My mom called in between, and I told her we would be there in 15 to 20 minutes max. Ricky was laughing, and I was feeling good to see him all happy. The road had very few cars, and it was quite a safe drive for us. Ricky said, "Mom, can I play some video games on your phone till we reach Nana's house?" I replied, "Of course you can, my baby." As I leaned to the right side to get the phone out of my pants pocket, Ricky screamed in fear, saying, "Look, Mom, look, it's Daddy!" I pressed the brake so hard that a huge creaking sound took place. What happened next, I will never be able to forget my entire life. The car headlights were making the road ahead clearly visible, but a person was standing in the middle of the road close to my car. I don't know how I should put it, but that wasn't just any normal person. It was my dead husband. Yes, Marcus was standing in front of my car. He was staring at Ricky with the blank, expressionless eyes. His face was so pale that it seemed there was no blood left in his veins. And above it all, I realized Ricky told me the truth that day. Marcus was standing there with a tilted head. His neck had stab wounds on its right side. Due to the broken bones, his head was tilted on the left. I could see dried up blood all over his dress and partial face. He then suddenly looked at me and smiled. I've never seen such a demonic smile. I could tell it was his haunting spirit obstructing our way. I had no idea what I should be doing. Ricky and I were both frozen like ice. We were breathing heavily. Marcus walked close to the car in that gruesome appearance and then said in a growling voice, "I hope you forgive me, Elena. I love my son too. Take care, you two." He then turned around and started to walk away. I could see him starting to disappear in the air as if he was made of dust particles. But before vanishing completely into the air, he turned toward me for one last time and said, "Happy Valentine's Day." I don't know how I reached my parents' house that night. If possible, I would like to forget this night ever happened, but I don't think I'll ever be able to. I just hope this gruesome memory fades away from Ricky's mind once he grows up.
Here's an honest way to make yourself $1,220 or up to $4,800.
I'm sorry, that's terrible. I shouldn't laugh, but that just caught me by surprise. I don't know what to say there. I didn't expect him to be like, "Happy Valentine's Day." That's like so random. Oh God, they were driving down the highway, and it kind of made me think of this story that I had seen on, I don't know if it was like Paranormal Witness or what, because I watched that and a bunch of other shows. Not Paranormal Activity. That I don't watch that, but what I remember is this lady and her kid, they get in the car and they start driving, and suddenly they disappear, right? And anyway, I don't know how long they were gone for. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but this, I don't know if this happened in like the 80s, 90s, whatever, right? But they had swerved off the road, and the little boy had survived, but the mom, the ghost of the mom, kept trying to reach out to get people to help her find her body and her baby boy. It's just what it reminds me of when she's like, and we got in the car to head to our grandma's house. I don't know. Just made me think of that. It's so random. I'm sorry. Okay. Let's take this down just a little bit. Boom! Yeah. There's my desk part. I don't know what I'm going to call this guy. Maybe I'll call him Bones, Mr. Bones. What spread should we do? We can do the eyeball spread. Is it the eyeball spread that I can do? Okay. He's going to be a little bit weird. Let me move back a little. There we go. Now, I don't know how I'm going to do this. It's been a while since I've done this spread. Okay, so the overall energy for last month is that you didn't learn a lesson, okay? In regards to a Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands is an Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, okay? And with him being upside down, it tells me that you're dealing with a very hot-headed, unpredictable, immature, brash, and very tacky Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. Okay, so you weren't learning a lesson there. And there was lack of a connection, right? Lovers in reverse. So that was last month. This month, you're transitioning. Okay, you're releasing a lot of mental anguish, right? Moving to calmer waters, deciding to deal with this King of Cups. This King of Cups tells you that not only are you dealing with a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, that could be your energy, or you could be the other, Aries, Leo, or Sag. But what this tells me is that you are taking in a decision and you are using your heart and your mind to find balance and give just to it, right? Then you got the Seven of Swords. You're realizing that this month there was a lot of deception, self-sabotage, right? Thieves. So someone was ripping you off. Now, let's see. The first week of this month tells me that you were seeking quality over quantity, but you were dealing with a lot of sabotage, deception. You got a lot of anxiety in regards to that. Feeling hopeless. Basically haunted. Feeling insomnia. Okay, that's the first week. The second week of this month, you are adapting. You're realizing that nothing's going to hold you back, baby doll. And so, even though you are unable to complete a task, you got the Nine of Wands in reverse here. And the Nine of Wands is you're exhausted, worn out. You're not able to finish. And you got the Five of Pentacles. You're dealing with a lot of poverty, financial loss, and anxiety. You're seeking quality over quantity, but at the same time, you're exhausted and you're fighting poverty. That's second week of this month. Third week of this month tells me that you're dealing with anxiety. Anxiety. And it might have a lot to do with this temperance card here, this Sagittarius energy. You're finding balance, you know, and harmony. But this Sagittarius could be causing you anxiety. Three of Swords in reverse. The Sagittarius, or whoever you're dealing with, is asking for forgiveness. Asking for forgiveness. Apologizing. And it's causing you a lot of anxiety. Third week of this month. Fourth week of this month. Tells me that you will be in collaboration. Ooh. With this Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo energy, this is someone who is very confident, right? But because this is in reverse, this tells me the Queen of Hazards tells me that whoever you're dealing with, there's a lot of home and work imbalance. Okay? But that's not going to stop you from saying your piece or finding clarity. Ace of Swords. Sharp tongue and unscrupulous. Yeah. Okay. Now, that's the 4 weeks. Let's talk about the possibility for March. Yeah. You're going to be waiting next month. Yes, you are. Dealing with Scorpio energy as well. Okay, there's a reverse tower. The reverse tower basically says that you're prevailing after a collapse. So, you know, you avoided that shit house, right? You're waiting, you're prevailing, and 3 of Wands. Oh yeah, 3 of Wands. You're visualizing success. Visualizing success. That's me. Slow mode. Double thumbs up. Tell my kid this, to do this to his teacher, and he's over here going, woo! She's like, what you doing? Thumbs up to the max. She's like, oh, the weirdo. All right, let's move on. After I get done with this video, we'll do the dead spread. I don't know, I'm still deciding on if I want to do a dead spread throughout the whole tarot or what. But since it's Valentine's, we'll do that, and then, yeah, we'll go on. Here we go. Sorry about the ads.
This happened last year on Valentine's Day. I'm a 35-year-old male. I was working in an IT company where I met a girl. She joined the office as a fresher and started working under me as a trainee. Her name was Melissa. Everyone used to call her Molly. I've been an introvert since childhood. Due to my reserved nature, I hardly approach girls, even if I like someone. But Molly was completely opposite of me. She was outgoing and extremely extroverted. Anyways, due to her training, we used to spend most of the time together in the office. She was a bit younger than me. I kinda liked her carefree nature because it made me feel happy with her. One day, gathering all my courage, I asked her on a date with me. I was expecting a refusal or sudden news that she already had a boyfriend, but instead, she accepted. She told me that she always had her eye out for me, but due to my reserved nature, feared to approach me. We started going out, and eventually, I shared many things with her about my life. People in the office started to pull my legs whenever Molly and I were spotted together by them. We ignored them because we were having a nice time with each other. One day we went to the pub for a couple of drinks after office. Molly got really drunk, hence she stayed at my place that day. The next day was Sunday, so I woke up late. I was going to take a shower when I heard sounds in the kitchen. At first, I thought someone broke in. so I tiptoed into the kitchen and saw Molly cooking breakfast. She smiled at me and said, "I'm making French toast. I hope you like it." I got a bit surprised because I wasn't expecting her to stay till morning. After that day, things took a different turn in our relationship. Molly started to stay back at my place every now and then.
Wait, you didn't expect her to stay over the whole night? What? Like, are you used to girls just kind of slinking out the window? Like, they're not all girls are like, not all girls are like that. Let's continue on.
I won't deny that I really liked her, but sometimes I used to feel out of space in my life. One evening I came back home from the office. Molly took the day off that day. As I went to unlock my door, I found it already open. After entering, I saw Molly was watching TV laying at my couch. She smiled like usual and asked me how my day went. I was really awestruck this time. I asked her, "How did you get my keys?" To which she replied, "I made a copy for myself. I hope it's okay." I wanted to tell her it's not, but I chose not to.
That is not okay. Okay, like, that is not okay. Now, if she had asked him, "Can I make a copy?" then okay, yeah. But it was never up to her. That's creepy. that's borderline creepy.
I should have told her that day, I know. Anyways, she stayed the night like every other day.
He's
I was
gonna get
going
his
through an
locks
important
changed.
file in office when one of my colleagues came to my room and said, "Congratulations, Robert. You owe us a party." Like a completely clueless person, I stood there with a blank face. I came out of my office and noticed a small crowd of office people standing near Molly's desk surrounding her. She was smiling and blushing like a teenage girl. I thought it would be rude to ask her in front of everyone, so I confronted her when she was alone in the cafeteria. I said, "Molly, what the hell is going on?" She smiled and said, "Nothing. I just told everyone that we were a couple and are soon to be engaged." I know it was rude of me, but I laughed because I couldn't believe my ears. I said, "What? I never said anything like that to you. I mean, no offense, but I think I need more time before coming to a decision like that." I expected Molly to react in an angry way, but I never expected she would cross our limits that day. I was, after all, her senior, but she suddenly turned all pissed off and started to scream at me, saying, "Oh, really? You didn't take time to think that before jumping into bed with me?"
Sell products on Facebook and Instagram when you start your online store with Shopify, the e-commerce platform that's trusted by over 1 million businesses.
This is why I don't sleep with
I
people
already
at the
said I'm an
office.
introverted person, so the way Molly started a scene creating people gathered near the cafeteria, I was highly embarrassed and humiliated. I had to take a stand for myself too, because when a woman makes a comment like that about a man in a public place, the general outcome is people identify as the man at fault without even listening to his side. I looked at her with angry eyes and replied, "Molly, I never forced you onto anything. You only stole my house keys and made a copy of it. You only started to stay back at my apartment even though I never asked you to. I like you and wanted to spend more time with you so that we could know each other well. But I think I have known you enough now. Let's just cut off from whatever's going through your mind. I would prefer my freedom and peace more than anything in this world. Sorry, but I can't go on with this." I stormed out of the office that day. I changed my house locks the next day because I didn't want any more troubles. A week had passed and Molly avoided me, and I felt relieved that we had moved past the bitterness and can be on our own now. Our office held a party to celebrate Valentine's Day. Molly asked a guy named Sean from the tech department as her date to the party. Whether she was trying to make me jealous or maybe actually moved on, I didn't know. I asked one of my colleagues also as my date for the party. The party was happening at the office rooftop. The decorations of the party was perfectly themed on Valentine's Day. Big red hearts, balloons all over the place. There was even a small fountain pouring champagne in the right side. Everyone was dressed at their best. I saw Molly getting really drunk and dancing with her date. I sat down with some of my colleagues and started to drink too. Things were going well. Then we heard a terrible scream. I sprung up from my chair and everyone started to panic. I recognized the scream. It was Molly's voice. It took time to figure out that she was not in the party. We all started looking for her and found out she was screaming from the ladies' washroom. We all rushed towards her. As we reached the washroom, we saw a vicious sight. Sean was lying on the hallway right near the doorstep of the washroom. His head was bleeding heavily. At first, we all thought he was dead, but then one of our colleagues checked him and said, "Call an ambulance, we can still save him." Molly was sitting on the corner of the floor and sobbing like a little girl. Sean got admitted to the hospital immediately. Everyone asked Molly about what happened. She looked at me and started crying even louder. I went close to her and hugged her. Then I asked what happened. She said Sean tried to take advantage of her and started forcing her. Out of fear, she hit him in the head with her beer bottle. Everyone at the office felt bad for her, and I took her to my place that night. I thought she is already in enough trauma, so I can show her some compassion that night. After that day, Molly again started to get close to me. I won't deny that out of sympathy, I kind of grew a soft corner for her too. Sean was still in the hospital, and the office decided to file a harassment case against him. I don't know why, something just didn't seem right. Molly was happy and jolly again in no time. One day I was walking through the same hallway where we found Sean. I noticed a security camera there, and an idea came to my mind. I immediately rushed to the security room and asked for footage of the Valentine's Day party. As I checked the footage, my suspicion became true. I saw Molly walking with Sean in the corridor, and suddenly she lifted her beer bottle and struck him on the head. You can now guess what happened after that. I submitted those tapes to the official authority. Not only they gave Sean a clean chit, but also fired Molly. Sean even filed a complaint against her to the cops, but Molly has suddenly disappeared. Last night, I received a text from an unknown number that reads, "All I did for you, Robert, you broke my heart. I will come back to get my revenge. Till then, much love, darling." I know it's definitely from Molly. I called the cops and informed them about the text in the morning. I don't know if I'll ever see her again, but Molly, if you're watching this, stay the hell away from me. You are a disgusting person, and don't you dare threaten me this time.
Wow. That takes Psycho to a whole new level. Have you guys ever had any weird stuff happen on
Hi, Rex Moore with the Motley Fool here, and I've got 5.
Have you ever had anything weird happen on Valentine's Day? Alright, well, let's get started on this. Pull it up. Up. So, we're gonna do the dead spread. Yeah, because I'm weird and I like that spread. And you can't have a spooky Valentine's Day without that spread. Alright, so let's get started, shall we? I already shuffled. Yeah, let's get going. So, what was the person's purpose in this life? Now, whoever this is, their purpose was that they were disappointed because they weren't able to come together with someone in regards to it's like they wanted to, whoever they wanted to share their love, right? Their wisdom. They were disappointed they weren't able to come together with someone. What were you to learn from this person's life? You were to learn that from their life, you were to learn that accomplishing a lot and having hope and faith will lead you to seeking and gaining an inner sight of your truth. Now, what you learned from their death was anxiety. You learned that not everything is as it seems, like poverty, financial loss, and anxiety. But you learned how to manage overcoming that. The reason behind their death I think they contemplated a lot about whether they should live or die. I think the reason behind their death is they made a sacrifice. They did end up in the hospital though. I don't know
What?
if it was suicide or what, but they were disappointed and they felt abandoned in their last hour. Okay. How are you to use what you'll gain from them? What you'll use is you'll learn not to reject your intuition and come together. Pay attention to the world around you. All right.
Oh my god.
What do they want you to know? What they want you to know
They didn't throw it. I was gonna throw it and they shot me and then it dropped it.
is life is full of challenges, and some challenges will be disappointing and make you dissatisfied, but others won't.
Oh my god.
There's impatience here.
Are they
Maybe they want you to know not to be impatient. That it's okay. What is their greatest memory? Their greatest memory was not seeing where they were when it's not seeing where they were. They weren't perceptive.
I want this to be a freaking match.
They were at a crossroads. And a lot of that had to do with the Five of Pentacles. Upside down. Their greatest memory was getting help. Or giving help. I don't know. Okay. What do they need that you can do for them? They need you to know that they don't need to be discovered. They want you to move on, gain a whole new boldness. Be brave. They also want you to know, Ten of Cups in reverse, that sometimes families are dysfunctional and they have problems. Okay?
Getting to the next one.
You need to work on that. You need to definitely work on that. What I mean by that is that if you feel that you're utterly alone and that only you in the world has the most dysfunctional family in the world, you need to work on that, because you're definitely not alone when it comes to dysfunctional families. Sorry, the world isn't, poly perfect. We're all fucked up in one way or another, but it's how much you're able to overcome what you're going through and keep moving forward. There are such things as generational curses, and you can break that. You can decide, I'm no longer going to be mad at this person. I'm going to take responsibility. I'm over a certain age. Yeah, they fucked up, but at least they tried. Or even if they didn't try, it's time for me to move on. Now, that's easier said than done, honestly. How do they see you? They see you as someone you're no longer celebrating, right? You're off balance, and they see you as a Four of Swords. Upside down. You're ignoring the need for rest. You're still very weak and tired, okay? You're off balance. That's how they see you. They see you as someone who's trying but not getting very far. What advice, wisdom, secret can they share with you? That it's okay to be bossy. It's okay to level up. It's okay to celebrate when you don't feel like celebrating. It's okay, to nine of wands. To be on guard. It's okay to be on guard.
Overage.
It's okay to keep enduring what you're enduring, but knowing that you were never alone in the first place.
right there for
How do they prefer to be contacted? Okay, so Destiny tells me that there's a lot of deception in a puppet master. Now, you can pray to them, but they prefer that you not do anything that can compromise your soul. Okay? The Ace of Pentacles in reverse. You're over-worrying over money and health. You can talk to them in your prayers or in your sleep. Okay? Someone used to send messages via bird, right? Little notes. Okay, last one. What last words do they have for you?
How did he know it's coming and climbing on so much?
There are secrets. Okay, there are secrets around you. But you need to pay attention to your dreams. Because they do talk to you. Here's the little sentence on my moon card. My Jane Austen moon card. It says, "We all have our best guides within us. If only we would listen. Sometimes it's hard to listen to yourself. The world's so loud and..." Excuse me, I hiccuped.
Oh, he's on there. What the fuck?
The world is full of noises. But have you ever stepped outside during the dead of night and noticed that everything is quieter at night, so you're able to listen to yourself? I think that you also astral project.
That fuck makes.
They want you to know that it's okay to use your heart while making a decision in regards to this Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces energy. It's okay to be empathetic, diplomatic, and very generous, okay? They also want you to know that you're going to get your justice one way or another. Or you're Libra if you're dealing with Libra. Things all happen for a reason. What goes up must come down. For every action, there is a positive or negative reaction. But you're not alone. Alright? Yeah. Whew. Alright. Alright, thank you so much, my beautiful Zodiac family, for, enjoying Tarot and Carrot with me today. I know I'm late, okay? I slept through Valentine's weekend. It was a great sleep. Well, I didn't necessarily sleep the whole time, just most of the time. I crocheted a lot. I watched Cities of the Underworld. Because my life is boring. Do you know crocheting puts you to sleep? I didn't know that. I always wondered why I kept falling asleep. It's boring. The things you learn from me. Alright. Well, this has been a very long hour. It has been actually quite fun. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will leave the comments open. If someone posts a thing about, sometimes I get those posts that's like a link that sends you to like a dirty website. I'm sorry, I try to delete those as fast as possible, but people like to spam me on those. I don't know why. Maybe they think I need sex or something. I don't. I'm good. I got enough over here. But anyway, I love you all. Stay safe and do know that I am still doing free personal tarot readings, okay? I love you all. Bye, my beautiful, beautiful Zodiac family friends. Stay safe.